Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This video I want to carry on with the how to use your planner series by focusing on something that every planner should be doing for us, which is time management. Now, when I talk about time management, there are three things that immediately pops into my brain, plus one little extra tip or trick you could use. So I'm going to dive into those straight away for you. So, when you think about time management, you think about how much you can get done in 24 hours. And a lot of people think like this, but you have to remember that you're meant to be sleeping for 8 hours of that day. Now this varies a lot. A lot of people can benefit and can survive off only 6 hours, and there are other people like me who, you know, if we can, we kind of like the extra hour or two and perhaps make it up to 10 hours. But even so, you have to try and factor that in when it comes to planning. So a lot of people say, how much can I get done in 24 hours? When realistically we should be saying, how much can we get done in 16? Still wrong. Still can't get things done in 16 hours. Why? Because that would make you think that you're working for 16 hours straight. You've got to plan for yourself. You've always got to allow time to be you, to do the things that you need to do, such as have a bath, do a hobby, learn something new, any kind of those self-care activities. Family time is a massive one. I always try and make sure I have about 2 or 3 hours in the evening family time, because if it wasn't for our family or our friends, we would feel a lot more lonely, and so you've got to make sure that you factor in those time. Therefore, you're actually only going to be working and planning for about between 8 to 10 hours a day once you've, thought about food and that extra family time and self-care. So that makes a 24-hour day quite short, and yes, this is why people feel very panicked and feel very overwhelmed. I find that one of the greatest ways to get over the whole how much can I get done in an hour is by simply using an hourly system. Now there are plenty of ways that you can use time to manage your tasks. So the first one, you may have seen this around, it's all over the internet at the moment, and that's the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, have a break. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Once you've done that 3 to 4 times, go and take a half an hour to an hour break. Let yourself fully rest, fully recover, perhaps squeeze in a self-care thing. And then you can mix it up and change it as it fits you and how much you can focus in one time. Now, this works really well if you have a plan to stick to, and the perfect way that you can do that is with an hourly planner. Now, hourly planners and Pomodoro technique I think work hand in hand together. They work really, really well because you can physically see this hour I need to be focusing on this task. Set the timer, boom, work on it, good to go. Another thing that an hourly planner is good for is allowing you to overestimate the time needed to do a task. If your planner is only separated into hours or even half an hours, it allows you to complete tasks which may take 45 minutes, maybe perhaps even 20, which then gives you that little extra time to rest, to relax, to do something, or if you're in that flow, go and start something else, and start early, which means at the end of the day you may have like an hour spare, an hour extra that you can do something with that you perhaps may not be able to do. So I find that time management in an hourly sense is incredibly useful. Now, hourly planners, however, don't work for everyone. They work really well for people who have set work hours or shifts, or perhaps even if you are self-employed but you have set times for meetings every single day. Works brilliantly. Okay, I understand, I get you, but those who are self-employed, or you're perhaps studying, or perhaps you're a stay-at-home mum, having a schedule won't work. You've tried it, you've got the t-shirt, you threw it in the bin because it doesn't work. And I feel you. As much as I love trying to schedule everything in its own little separate pocket, in its own separate day, adaptation, flexibility is sometimes what you need. And that brings me on to two more things which I think go hand in hand, but they do have their own separate identities. The first is calendar blocking or time blocking, as well as batch tasks. I was going to say batch content then, but that's a whole different board game. So, time blocking. The clue is in the title. You block time into doing specific or certain types of tasks. So you can say, okay, Monday, you're here. I'm going to block out a chunk of time just to do the housework. And you just block it out. Block time out in a calendar. Or perhaps even if you don't even put it on a specific day, just say this week, I want to spend at least 3 hours doing this. And if you can put it on a calendar or a virtual calendar, you can actually see blocks of time which have already been used up. Used up for things like your family time, so you cannot double book yourself. Calendar blocking is such a great way. I think it's because it's visual. If you can physically see that 3 hours has been taken off because you want to have a nice family meal that day, you can physically see that, and you can physically tell yourself not to go and double book, or not to go get rid of it because you want to do some work instead. And that's why I really like calendar blocking. Now I think this goes hand in hand with batch content, because you can say on a Thursday, every Thursday, I can set aside 3 hours for filming, 3 hours for social media, 3 hours for housework, and you can batch like for like content or like for like tasks and put it all together, so you create this thing called flow. Now I've talked about flow before in another video, but it's basically a state where you become so focused in something and you enjoy it that you almost lose track of time a little bit. It is kind of that feeling, you know, when they say time goes by when you're having fun. It's almost like that. Once you get in the flow, it's very hard to come out of it, and once you are out of it, it's very hard to then go back in, because you've lost your train of thought, you've lost the flow. So batch content and calendar blocking is a really good way to encourage that flow state of mind. Now, of course, that would require some pre-planning. So when it comes to calendar blocking or batch content or batch tasks, I would suggest you grab a piece of paper, write down every aspect of your life, everything you could possibly do. So I'll use me as an example. So I have, of course, my main day job, which is being a virtual assistant. And within that, I have routine tasks that happen every week, such as scheduling social media, updates for WordPress, things like that. Okay, I then have family life. And what includes in family life? I have lunches and dinner times. I have gaming time. We have movies or going out for the weekends. Okay, next thing, I have Deskorators. So with that, I've got to write blog posts, schedule more social media, film, plan, because, you know, kind of got to plan. Then I have other sites that I need to maintain with blog posts and social media. So instead of saying one day I'm going to be doing social media for one business, filming for another, perhaps I'll tidy my room, and I've got to then fit in dinner, I could say one day I'm going to get all the week's videos for all of my businesses filmed, and if I can, possibly even edited as well. That means for the rest of the week you don't need to worry, and that is the beauty of content and idea and task blocking and batching It is really, really good. Now, I did mention that I had a couple of extra tricks. The first one, if you have a happy planner, or you have an Erin Condren, or you have a daily planner which has a certain amount of to-dos, don't exceed it. And what do I mean by that? So, on my desk here, underneath my little desk tidy, I have my happy planner, which I've just decorated for the week, but I'll show you a blank page. So, I've said this before on another one, but time management in a vertical planner or something which has a certain amount of to-dos is incredibly helpful. Why? You only have a certain amount of space per day. Use it. So many people do it as morning, afternoon, evening. Use that space. If you cannot fit a sticker in, don't put a sticker in. Don't do that task. If you like to use stamps rather than stickers, okay, put some stamps in. But don't start changing weird stamps just so you can cram more in your day. Make sure that your planner or your calendar is visual and something that reflects you, something that reflects your life. There's no point copying someone else. Someone may have 20,000 things on their to-do list for a day, and that's amazing. If they don't want to sleep or eat, they might be able to get it done, and if that's the way they roll, leave them to it. But if you know you've got to pick the kids up from school and cook and clean and tidy up and work and do all these things, if you can't fit anything else on your planner, don't do it, because overworking yourself will hurt you more in the long run. So that is a bonus trick. And another bonus trick, set yourself reminders. Procrastination is a terrible thing when it comes to time management, because you can sit there for half an hour and not do anything, and you feel like you're managing your time really well. Yeah, but you're not. So set yourself reminders, keep on track with time management, and revisit it. If a certain routine or a certain way of planning isn't working for you, you will not maximise your time because you're spending too long pondering or switching and flitting between different tasks. So that's how I manage my time using planners. I use both physical and I do use a virtual planner as well. I use ClickUp. I have used Trello. I very much do suggest Trello. Trello is amazing, but there is something about ClickUp which just does that little bit more, and which for me, I kind of need that little bit more. So I find ClickUp is very, very good. But I use both hand in hand, so either way is right. There is not a wrong way to do this. But I really do hope that I've helped you in some way, and until next time, bye guys.